Joining me is Colonel Clint Granger, who's retired from the U.S. Army, and he's talking about the last days at Vietnam. So, Colonel, you were there, you were sent there by the president. Mm-hmm. You get to Vietnam, there's chaos in one of the major units, the Second Corps. Mm-hmm. The North Vietnamese are coming across the border in tanks. And you left us with your recommendation to the president was, hey, we've got to get as many people out as we can.
That's right.
So pick it up there.
All right. Well, it's not that easy. He did turn aircraft carriers around to get them in close. And you'll probably recall there were newsreels of helicopters landing on the aircraft carriers being pushed over the sides, and because everybody fled. They really tried to get out. And we got a lot out, but not all. Not all by any means. Many families were left behind. I had another member of the National Security Council staff with me. He could speak Vietnamese, married to a Vietnamese girl. And he wanted to smuggle her family out. They didn't get out.
I want to sort of go back. Why did the South Vietnamese believe that they would be truly harmed at the end of the war? I mean, because it just seemed like a panic. It
was a panic. There was no question in the minds of the average South Vietnamese that they were going to be subjected to goodness knows what. Why? It's a different people. The North Vietnamese and the South Vietnamese originally divided between the Catholic North, moving to the South, and the people who became pure communists in the North. They were not may have been the same blood, same background, but they were not the same people anymore.
And so, in the last days, could the U.S. have done something different to get more people out? Or were we stretched as thin as we could be?
And we did everything we could. Everything that was in that part of the Pacific that the Navy could get there to haul people away was used. Every airplane that could be flown in and out again, and it was pretty crowded just doing that, flew them maybe to Taiwan, maybe to the Philippines, wherever we could get them out. But that was the maximum. It was a maximum effort and not enough.
So what could have been done differently in say, 74? So that this wouldn't have happened in 75. Were we caught off guard there? Was it the political will?
The American public, what do we have, 58,000 killed. People did not like the idea of Vietnam. They felt that we had entered the war in error. We had pretty violent reaction in the public at that point. The United States was not ready to go back to war for a strange people in a strange part of the world. Not at all.
And so there wasn't the political will. Could the military have done something then?
Not without the political will behind it. You got to have the money, you got to have the political backing, and then the final analysis, the Army, Air Force, Marine Corps, Navy, none react alone. They all are responsible to the commander-in-chief, and that's the president, so it's a political decision, and not a military decision.
But did we have the capabilities to do something different?
Not much. We did everything we could to get people out. I don't think we really could have built back up in any kind of a reasonable length of time before we lost the country.
So it was really, when you got there, you advised the president it was totally a crisis.
It was, very definitely.
What was his response?
Well, he committed everything the Navy, the Air Force could. There wasn't much else he could do. Get the people out that you can, get the Americans out. And indeed, we got most of the Americans out all right. Although you may remember the pictures of the people standing on top of the embassy getting that last helicopter out.
Yeah, that scene is that, and the helicopters being pushed overboard.
Yeah,
sort of epitomizes the last days. So the president really was trapped as well.
Oh, he was. What choice do you have? You don't have the military capability to react to it. the country wouldn't support any further major military effort.
And you have 2 weeks.
And we didn't have the time.
So, well, and speaking of time, we're about out of time in this segment. When we return.